Hello and welcome to another episode of e-learning sensitization, and today I want to talk about multiple choice questions, how to set them up, and the easiest format to achieve your objective of setting up an evaluation that is MCQ based or multiple choice based. Therefore, this is the normal way the courses look like, and you'll notice I have enabled the editing mode. So typically, of course, if I switch it off, then you don't see all those edit pen icons around. But if I switch it on, so the framework now knows I'm editing something or a particular aspect in the course. So I'll navigate down to where I have evaluations, module 1, evaluations and grading, and I want to add an activity. This will be a quiz. Both essay quizzes and multiple choice quizzes are activities of the nature of a quiz. So what I'll do, below this URL, I'll add another activity. And so this should be a quiz. So if you don't see whatever you want to add in this section, you can quickly search quiz. So you'll see that. So I've already put in my quiz. So I'll call it demo MCQ AIKEN format quiz. So that's the name of the quiz. So yours will be specific to your domain, and the most important thing here is to get the aspect of setting up the multiple choice questions. So what I'll do, I'll just scroll down. The timing, this is quite important, though we discussed this in the previous section where we mentioned how to set up evaluations. So I'll just click here, enable. Let's say we'll enable this today. It will be available, and close quiz. I'll not enable that. So that is the timeline within which the quiz should be completed. So time, well, let me just enable this. Let's say this would expire by today 6, and the time limit anytime between 11:34 and 1834. Anytime one starts, they should take 60 minutes maximum. So when time expires, open attempts are submitted automatically. So remember, these are general setups for any evaluation. So the grade. So the grade we will set up in the questions. So let me just set here grade category and categorize now. So that's okay. So the critical thing is timing. So after that, we don't need to do plagiarism because this is basically a multiple choice based. You cannot plagiarize any choice, so to speak. So I'll save and display. So as you can see, our quiz does not have any questions. So at this point, it is incumbent upon the faculty member, the lecturer or the teacher to add the questions. So before we look into how we add our questions, let me walk you through the AIKEN format. So I'll open my notepad, which is a text editor. So the AIKEN format is described as a very simple way of setting up multiple choice questions in a human readable format. So that is the official description of AIKEN format. It is the most simple way of setting up multiple choice questions or MCQs. So here's the deal. The format is quite strict, and you need to adhere to it. So the first thing, each question has to start with a capital letter, an uppercase letter, and it has to be on a single line. You cannot have a question that goes to the second line. That will not work. It will result into errors. The questions will not be interpreted well by the platform. So the first two rules is to know the question has to start with a capital letter and it has to be on its own line. The beauty with having a solution that works with text editors is that a text editor will allow you even to type 1,000 characters in one line, unlike Word that will be, condensing your words every now and then. Then you'll have to have choices. So for each choice, your choices should begin in the subsequent line. Each choice should begin with an uppercase letter followed by a period or a bracket. In this particular case, I choose to use a period. And then after the delimiter you use, either a period or a bracket, you need to leave one space. So I've done, let me just do it fresh. So we are saying it should begin with a capital letter immediately after the line ending a question. So you begin doing your choices, A, then a period, then a single space, and you write your answer. The answer should also be in a capital letter for consistency. So you type that A, then you go to B, then you go to C, then you go to D. Notice the spaces we are leaving. After every period, we have one space, then the name of the answer, then the text of the answer. And then below all the choices, you have now to give a keyword answer in capital, followed by a colon, a single space, and the preferred answer choice. So that is the gist of it. Remember, each question has to begin with a capital letter and it has to be on its own line. Then after each question, you have to go now to your choices. A choice will begin with a capital letter followed by a period or a bracket, a space, then the answer text. Then for the system to know how to mark the correct answers, you need to give answer using the keyword answer followed by a colon, a space, and the preferred choice. Then after each set of question, choices, preferred answer, you skip one line, then you begin the second question in the same format. So this is simply the way AIKEN format works. It is as simple as that. Just to recap again, each question has to begin with a capital letter. It has to be on its own line. It then followed with the choices the student will have to choose from. So after all the choices, then you can give the preferred choice using the keyword answer followed by a colon, an immediate colon, a space, then the preferred choice. So that is basically the AIKEN format. Even if you do not take anything from this lesson, just understand the essence of the format. So it has to follow those rules. Now, what I'll do, I'll go back to the LMS. Now let's add our questions. So questions will typically be added as a single question, which is not the preferred way, or they can be put in a repository and then added into the course from the repository. The question repository in Moodle is called a question bank. That is where you store your questions, and then in subsequent quizzes you can import the questions. You can bring the questions from the question bank. So let us quickly go to the question bank. So in the question bank, what you will see is the normal menu. the quiz, settings, questions, results, the question bank. So when you're interacting with the question bank, you have to be in the question bank. If you have questions in the question bank and it's a matter of just adding them, then you can just go to the questions. Let me just go to the questions, and you can see now when you go to the questions, we don't have any. But you can on the right hand side we have under shuffle we have an add action where you can add a new question. You can get them from the question bank. You can add a random question. So for us, we want to create our repository from the format that we have just seen. So under the question bank, before you even scroll down to see what is there, your interest is to add new questions using the AIKEN format. So from the top, you see we have a label that is written questions. So click on it. It has categories, it has import, it has export. So ours, we are bringing in questions from a file, from a text file. So we are basically importing, we are bringing in questions into the question bank. So I'll click on import. So it will reload, and you can see the header here has changed, import questions from a file. Ideally, as I said, when we were beginning, we have different file formats. And in fact, as you can see, the file format here, we have AIKEN format, we have Blackboard, we have embedded answers, we have gift format, which is really complicated, we have missing word format, we have Moodle XML format. And if you would want, in Moodle, if you would want to get an explanation to a concept that is foreign, there's always these question marks. So you can see here under AIKEN, for instance, I have help with icon. I can help with AIKEN. I can click on it, and I can click more help. So it should actually have I clicked? Let me just click. I think I'm not clicking well. Or you can actually just type here AIKEN on Google, AIKEN format. So any link that goes to Moodle will give you an explanation. As you can see, the formats that we've just seen here are the ones that are also explained on our documentation. So we have gift, we have Moodle XML, we have XHTML format. So for AIKEN, as I said, it is a very simple way of creating multiple choice questions using a clear human readable format in a text file. So in our text file looks like this, you see. So for each question we have a preferred answer. So this is the only critical concept you need to understand about the format. So what I'll do, I was just showing you the documentation, how you could get it and get more out of it. And you can see the conditions that I gave. For example, you must save the file in a text format. Yeah, it has to be .txt. That is the default. That is the default format for the notepad when you're using a PC. Then we have non-ASCII characters like quotes can cause import errors. Yeah, the answer letters A, B, C, etc. and word answer must be capitalized. I stressed on that point. And as you can see, they're also giving their own examples. So you can see you have the question, then you have A, B, C, D, the choices, and the preferred answer. So it has to be in capital, the answer keyword, followed by a colon, and then the space, and then the preferred character, right? So I will quickly now select here, back to our LMS, I'll quickly select AIKEN. Then the general, there's nothing much we could do here. So if you want to create your own category, here we have ESM. Default category is ESM, course ESM. So you could just select the category is default for demo MCQ AIKEN format. But whichever category you choose, those questions will be generally available in Moodle. So the other thing here under the general is match grades, error if grades not listed. So you can click on this and try to see imported grades must match one of the fixed list of valid grades. So for us, do not complicate anything. Most of the default choices, we are not importing any grades in this particular case. So we just leave it as is. Stop on error. Yes, that is. So if your template has any errors, we are saying just stop importing and show us the error. So the next important thing is import questions from a file. That is what I'm going to do. I can just, let me just click here. Or I can just drag it. Let me try to trace where it is. LMS evaluation. So MCQs, AIKEN. Let me just confirm that is where we are. Yes, that is where we are. So I'll just drag this here. Dragging is quite easy. You don't have to select, navigate to the file system. So long as you know where that text file is, you are able to work with it, drag it and dropping it. So I'll click on import. So as you can see, the results are passing questions from import file. It is in green, so that is a success. Importing 5 questions from file. It has imported that. So as you can see, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the questions in our text file. So it means we do not have any errors. So as you can see, it has even put the numbers for us. So 1, 2, those are things we had not specified. I'll click on continue. We click on continue. Now you can see question bank. So the category is now the activity itself, the demo MCQ AIKEN format quiz. So show the question text in question list. So that is yes. So as you can see now, we have everything that we wanted. I'll go back to my quiz. So here, I'll click on add question. Since I have questions in my question bank, under the add button, I'll go to add from question bank. So default category. So this is not the category I saved the questions. My questions were under default for demo MCQ AIKEN format. So I'll click on that. So as you can see, all the questions that we added, and the essence of the category is just to allow you to visualize which compartment of the repository did you store your questions. And I would encourage, normally Moodle will create a category for each course and each activity. And for me, the name of the activity, the name of the quiz is where I stored the quiz. But you can have a general category, like the default one that is given by Moodle. I'll select all the questions and say add selected questions to quiz. So I've added. Here they are. Then we had a question on grading. So MCQs, each correct choice will be 100. But then if you decided that your cut is going to weigh for 15% of the overall score, of the overall aggregate score, based on assignments, cards, and the main exam, and you say this card is going to be up to 15 weightage points. So what you do now, for it to be easy to score, you could just ensure that if someone gets everything here, they are going to get 100. So you could say, for example, here we have five questions. You could decide, click on the pen icon, say each is 20. So every time you edit, you have to click enter. So on the pen icon, so I'll click that. So you see it has activated the text field. So I'll edit this to 20. Then I'll click enter. So you can see the little icon there for loading. So again, I'll click on the pen icon. So I'm very particular with the actions, because if that was a problem for me when I was doing this max scoring, because I wouldn't understand why the scores are not saving. Because if you just type here 20 and then you click outside, it has not saved. You have to click enter. So I'll click again on the pen icon. I'll give this 20 and click on enter. So the moment you see the ellipse, the loading icon, the gear there, you know it is saving. There's an action going on. So I'll edit this again. I'll click enter. I'll click this and I'll click enter. Yeah. So therefore, it means now that if you successfully get everything in this particular quiz, then you get 100. It is very easy to weight 100 up to 15. So if someone gets like 60, it will be 60 over 100 multiplied by 15 eventually. So, and we will talk more about grading, but this is the general setup of a quiz that is MCQ based. Then what I'll do, the maximum grade here, I'll do 100 and I'll save. Yes, it's 100. It's only logical because everything else here is adding up to 100. 20 times 5 is 100, and the maximum total score is 100. So that is why we set up, and that's why I was saying in the questions setting, in the quiz setting, you do not touch on grading. You just leave grading to be set within the questions themselves once you've added them into your quiz. So after that, we are done. We've saved everything. So go back to my quiz. So as you can see now, we don't have, there's no question added. Now we are saying preview the quiz. And you can see now our time limit. You can see grading method here but is highest grade. It makes a lot of sense. So if I click on preview, in fact, before we even do preview, you could go to questions for this quiz. Scroll. For each question, you have this magnifying icon. So it's preview. As you can see, I've placed my cursor there, and it's the title is preview question. So if I click on that, you'll see what the students will see. That is the exact font, the exact labeling of the question, and how the student will see everything. You see? So, so that's it. I'll click on. I'll cancel this. I'll go back to the quiz. And as a faculty member, you can just preview, start the attempt. I was just showing you how to preview without starting the attempt. So network connection restored, you may, yeah. So that is me. That is, okay. So this is my network. Whatever you're seeing here, this is caused by my network. So, so in the preview, as you can see, there's a timer that has started. Remember we said this quiz will take an hour, 60 minutes. So this is what the student will see. You can even make, you can even just click on the next. So you see the question. You can click on the other question. You can click up to the last question. But then if you wanted the students to see all the questions in one page, the other thing you could do is go to the settings. So you can always change the settings so long as you have not attempted the quiz. There has not been any attempt. So you go to the question behavior. So shuffle within question, how questions behave, deferred feedback, yes. Each attempt builds on the last. No. So on the layout, so new page, every question. So yeah, this is where we change now the layout. So you can see we have 5 questions. So every page, if you decided you'd want all the students to see all the questions, then you could enforce that and say repaginate now. Yes. So save and display. Yes, we'll save and display. So if we preview, now you can see I'm able to see all the questions, and I can click on finish, right? So let me see whether there's something else. I mean, we are done with the AIKEN format, but let me just see whether there's any other interesting thing on the question. So grade, yeah, and categorize, grade to pass. You can define this actually, so long as um, it's below the maximum, which is 100. So you could say for anyone to pass, they have to score 40 attempts allowed. I mean, for this, you could say only 1 attempt is allowed. Then, so this is the default behavior in a normal non-LMS based evaluation that we do occurs only once. But if you're a lecturer and you decide that everyone, if there's a pass mark of 40 and there are people who fail and you don't want them to retake it, then you could define here 2 attempts. So I'll just say here allowed attempts, it's only 1 time. Then the layout, yeah, we've done that. The question behavior, shuffle questions, shuffle within questions. So it means that if we are seated together and you've done question 1, question 2 might be question 3 for me, right? So and you can view the description. So it says if enabled, the parts making up each question will be randomly shuffled each time a student attempts the quiz. Provided the option is also enabled in the question settings. These settings only applies to questions that have multiple parts, such as multiple choice or matching questions. So basically, the parts making up each question uh, will be randomly shuffled each time a student attempts the quiz, right? And the saying it only applies to questions that have multiple parts, such as multiple choice or matching questions. So, by the way, if a student attempts to tell me that the answer to question 2 is B, I mean, the system knows the answer, but your B might not be my B, right? So it also adds to some credibility to the process, makes it difficult for someone to generally cheat. So that's it. I'll save and return to the course. So you can see my AIKEN format quiz. So you can disable now the editing mode. And we have everything now set up. So thank you for watching. In case of any questions, you can communicate to graduate school via the relevant channels, and we will be able to answer you. So thank you. All the best in your Moodle endeavors.